Well, good morning everyone. It's actually drizzling, which is quite good. It is forecast to rain a little bit later on, maybe. Might not be much, but it's something. So I've just set the shed up because I'm bringing one of the mobs of calves in. I've got to pull a bull calf out because that is going soon, but I'll explain a little bit more soon. Come on! Hopefully they come out of here alright. They usually follow the gator with their meal feeder on it, but I thought I'll just try and get them in with a two-wheeler. Come on, diggy. Come on in. Dad's just actually brought the gator out, so this will be easy because they'll just follow that. I can't even see the bull calf in there. Pretty sure it's this mob. So I weaned this lot probably 5 days ago, and then there's just 4 calves in the paddock here, which I'm still feeding with a bit of milk next to the shed. They were just the smallest 4 that I pulled out. Over there, what? Left, 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 hard left. This one here. Oh, matey. Now I'm hoping that this is number 70, yes it is, 72, yep. Because the other bull calf that went 2 days ago was 71. These girls can go back to their paddock where they get some meal and as much hay as they want to. Well, we got him up in the trailer. There's a Pheasant in there. He's not too bad a size compared to that fella. See ya, mate. Well, they're all pretty full, so a lot happier. But every year I rear 2 bull calves and I effectively give them away at the end of the day. So like today, the one that went before that has gone to my local rugby club down at Prongia, and I got one picked up on, I think it was Sunday, which was going to the sale on yesterday or today. Today's Wednesday, and that was for the IHC. And the IHC is like an organisation which helps the intellectually handicapped, and it's pretty cool because the calf scheme for that is all around New Zealand. So we get this pink tag in the mail, and then we pledge a calf each year, and all the profits from that go towards their foundation. So it's pretty cool. The calf gets picked up, sent to sale, all the fees are taken off, so it's just straight profit that goes through, and they help out people. And it is pretty cool to be able to give something back. I know the IHC's been around for, I think it's like 25 or 30 years. Dad's always done a calf for them. Some years we've even done a couple, and it is, yeah, like I said before, pretty cool to be able to give back. To be honest though, most dairy farmers I know do a calf for some scheme, whether it be local or to help out nationally, so it is a pretty cool thing to do. But I was just checking the forecast, or the weather forecast, and it looks like we might be getting a bit of rain this afternoon, or a bit more than I thought anyway. So I might try and chuck some of this sustain on, which I picked up the other day. There's 2 tonne here. I'm only going to put it on at a pretty light rate just to sort of try and help a little bit of grass growth, because we are still lacking a little bit. Had another load of PK come in yesterday, so before I take the bucket off though, I will just push this up, flatten it off. That's much better. So the reason I actually drive over it and smooth it off like that is purely because I want to compact it. I did leave a trailer load like how it was before one day, and we got these real strong winds and actually blew quite a lot of it away. So I just find that by doing it like that, it sort of stops that. That's what I need. All good to go. So I put the spreader on this little Landini because that's got a back window and it's too hard to sort of reach out and turn it off and on. And I also got half-ton bags this time, which make it a lot easier because this is only a half-ton spreader. You can put ton ones in there, it's just you've got to stop it halfway, so I thought this would be way easier. that's half a tonne down, so I'm only putting on 30 kilos a hectare, which is about 15 units of N. And I was going to try and get another one of those on this afternoon, but I've just checked the weather forecast. Only 3 hours since I checked it last, and it looks like that rain's gone from the Savo. So it does say sort of possible thunder showers, but it definitely doesn't feel like we're going to get anything. It is a little bit black over that way, but I think I'm just going to leave it. And I did check, and we might be getting a little bit maybe Friday morning. It looks like we're sort of going to miss most of it, and yeah, it's going to go down each coastline, but I might try and get some more on tomorrow afternoon. It's definitely got that feel about it though, that the weather's sort of against us now. We are sort of coming into summer, I guess, and we really need the rain because it is starting to dry out quite bad now. Well, not quite bad, but it's definitely getting dry, and just a little bit of rain here and there would sort of kick us along, get the crops going, which we'll go and have a look at very soon. But I was sort of hoping, or we had planned this season to get a spreader, fertilizer spreader for the back of this tractor, so something that was a little bit more hydraulically operated than the simple yellow one over there, and something that's a little bit more accurate too, and it could take more, so we could get ton bags and put the whole ton in there, sort of like a double hopper spreader. But they are quite expensive. Did have one in mind that would probably worked. It was on the cheaper side, imported, brand new, but just didn't have the funds to get it, so that's probably on the cards for maybe next season, because I want to get into the habit of putting on just a little bit of nitrogen, maybe a little bit more often, so try and grow a little bit more grass. We don't use that much nitrogen really. I think last year we put on about 60 to 70 units for the whole year, which isn't that much. We are capped over here now at 190, but we get nowhere near that, so we are got a little bit of leeway, I guess, to put on a little bit more. And it still is the cheapest feed you can grow if you apply it at the right times and get like a good response from it. So that's what I'm sort of trying to do, get a little bit more efficient going into the future. Just having a little look here at this young herd, but this is a nice cow here, this 78. Beautiful young cow. She must have held to her first AI because the blue scratch hasn't been touched, so that's good. But I thought I'd take you around the crops this afternoon and have a little look and see how they're going. Because the maize was planted exactly 3 weeks ago tomorrow. It's looking pretty good. It's definitely up in a way, although I am running into a bit of a problem. And this is a real good example right here. There's a plant in the ground, and then you can see those little divots. Something's been eating them. And I'm going to put it down to pheasants for these ones, because they're digging down and eating the maize kernel. Look at that, that's real fresh. Some more here. That's very fresh as well. Oh, look at that. Big, tall, healthy plant. It's real bad around this tree here. Look at this. So these plants have been pulled out. This isn't real fresh because they've browned off. So that might have been done a couple of days ago, but nothing's really grown through here. All the plants are gone, so that's a bit of a shame, really. So I am actually having quite a bit of trouble, and I think the stuff around the edges there, that's probably pheasant damage, but I have also had quite a bit lost through duck like this. So walking along, everything's fine, and then they've just come in and absolutely destroyed the row. Look how much they've taken out there. Same with this row, it is just bare all the way down there. This row was actually missed, so I've been along and planted my sweet corn in there, but it's really not good. And these even look like new damage too, so that's a shame. Look at that plant's pretty fresh. This row I have actually replanted as well, but you can see there's just more areas where they've taken it out. It's just, yeah, it's not looking too good at all really. It's quite a lot of maize missing. Look at that whole row from there up to the end. So that's really not good at all. Yeah. Geez, look how patchy it is through there. See, these were probably, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 days ago maybe. These plants have been pulled out, so that's a real shame. They're not going to grow, they're going to die now. Just the roots are out of the ground. It's either pheasants or ducks, and the ducks will be coming in at night and just landing and chewing these plants, and they can take out quite a bit. It's mainly up the top area. There has been a little bit down the bottom there where they've taken out pretty much a whole row. Something's just walked out up it, pulling out plants, but it's mainly just this paddock here, so we need to try and get on top of it, and the only way to do that really is with a gun. So we're gonna have to bring our rifles over, shotguns over, and try and scare these things off. We'll have to come over on dark tonight probably and have a little look. If they are pheasants, which I think probably a little bit of this damage has been done by them, but it's also a combination of them and ducks. That's a very new plant. So what they do is they come in here and they dig down so they can get to the kernel where the maize is actually growing from, the growing point, and they like to eat that in the ground. And by doing that, they pretty much kill the plant, as you can see from this one. So that's going to wilt away and die. See, here's the shell here. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. So at the end of the day, that's just loss of production really, and we're probably going to lose a little bit of yield from the damage. It's probably not going to be heaps overall. It does look a lot worse now than what it's going to look like once the plants are, say, this high, but it just really annoys me. It's just, yeah, frustrating. You sort of want to grow a good crop and then you get sort of this carry on. But apart from all the bird damage, I think it's looking quite good. A little bit of rain had definitely helped sort of get that growing underway. Once the plant gets big enough, it'll be fine. It's just we've got to get to that stage, which is probably another couple of weeks away. But right next door is my chicory paddock, and as you can see, it's looking pretty green, especially down this side. And it's the wrong sort of green, because it's not the chicory growing, it is all this grassy, thatchy stuff. So the chicory's actually germinated though, and it's got its one true growing leaf at the moment. You can see the row here, there is chicory plants coming up, and it's even coming through this grass. But what I need to do now is get a spray down on here ASAP. So I've actually booked Sprayling in for tomorrow. They're hopefully going to get here and spray it, which should control most of this grass and a few of the weeds. Will definitely suppress it anyway. Once the chicory's up and away enough, it won't matter too much. It's just if this grass goes berserk now, it's just going to shade it out and sort of kill a lot of it. But it is looking good. Like, you can see lines starting to appear where the drill's been. It really didn't help too that we probably sprayed this paddock 2 to 3 weeks before the drill came and planted it. And we sort of did it because we wanted to try and plant our chicory earlier this year, so we sort of could get some early growth. But then the weather sort of impacted our plans a little bit, so we drilled later. And yeah, that certainly doesn't help, because that means the grass can come back before the chicory's established like it has now. So we've just got to farm with what we've got and give it a good spray, and it should help. Chicory will be right. It'll be right in another month. He'll come back and think it wasn't so bad, but yeah, we just need to get on top of it now. So both these crops have got their issues. We'll go and have a look at the direct drilling that I did with the maize. You can see a green tinge here. This area down the bottom here hasn't planted out real well. Like, there's no plants pretty much all around here, and I think it's pretty much because it's just on clay and it had a bit of trouble getting in or getting the seed down. I think it was a bit of a hard surface, but it sort of has worked in the areas which haven't been quite so bad. Like through there's a few plants just, yeah, down here. However, it looks a lot better in here, and you can see all that grass is dying away quite well now. It's turned pretty brown, and we've got rows of maize. I wouldn't say it's any smaller than the other stuff. Like, I reckon these maize plants is just as big, although it does vary in size. I mean, look at that, that's a good example right there. Well, that's almost wilted, that the end of that plant. I don't know why, but see, like there's one that's just germinating out right there. But I still think it's working pretty well. I mean, look at that, that's a great example of where it's drilled into that strip spray, and the grass in the middle is dying down quite nicely now. I think it looks really good, and I would say it'd be exactly the same height as the other stuff. So they did say that this might take a little bit longer to germinate because the soil doesn't heat up quite as much as when they strip till it or cultivate it. But I don't know, I think it looks fine. There's probably a few plants that are lacking a little bit behind, but in general, like there's quite a lot of big plants as well. However, it still is early days, so I'm still pretty hopeful that it's going to grow well. So this is the third paddock, and this is the one in annual, and I don't think this one's actually come up quite as well as the others. So like the gateway before, where it was pretty hard and clayey, down here in this area it's pretty much the same, like real hard clay soil. There are plants coming up in places, but I just don't think it was like the ideal seed bed for for maize, and that's why it sort of hasn't worked down here at all. Like this is pretty much going to be all bare through here, and it's probably had a little bit of pressure from the poo geckos as well down this bottom end. I did see a few plants pulled out as well. So yeah, it's not the best. Bit of a wasted space really. So in hindsight, I probably should have strip tilled this paddock, and I think I would have probably got a better result. Like up sort of here and across, it's worked real well. It's just sort of where the soil's quite hard down the bottom there. It's probably also had a little bit of pressure from the poo geckos down there as well. I did see a few plants that were pulled out that they would have got. So yeah, hindsight's a beautiful thing. I can't do anything about it now, and yield will be down a little bit, but it is what it is. I think that direct drilling has worked awesome in the paddocks which I've just shown you, but in here it probably wasn't the best option. Well guys, I'm just over at the maize, just having a little scout around. It's actually the following night, but I did come over last night and I spotted a pheasant in the act. So I scared it off and I went and had a look and could see the plants that it had actually pulled out right before I scared it off. So I'm pretty confident that all the damage that it's done through here is by pheasants, because there are actually 2 on here. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame. It's amazing what 2 of them can do. I suppose there might have been more, but yeah, they can do a lot of damage between just one of them. So it's a bit of a shame, but at least I know what's causing it now. So I'll just have to bring the shotgun over and try and scare them off, scare them onto somebody else's maize, I guess, or into another block, something like that. But it's actually quite reassuring to know that it wasn't duck damage, it was actually pheasant. So just sort of live and learn. So in the future, if I can sort of get it early, I can sort of try and control the situation, I guess. But yeah, I just have to live with it this year. For now, unfortunately, they have done a heck of a lot of damage. But like I said earlier, it's not going to matter quite so much later on once the plants get bigger. But yeah, there's definitely a little bit of yield loss in here. But that'll pretty much do it for this video, guys. The sun is just about to set and get dark, so I'm going to head off. But I hope you enjoyed the video. A little bit of misfortune on my behalf, but unfortunately sometimes in life this happens. But at least I know what to look for in the future. So like always, give it a thumbs up, and apart from that, see you next time.